And we are back with Business RadioX Pro Tip. Stone Payton, Lee Kantor here with you. Lee, you've been at this a minute. What insights do you have on how to conduct a productive interview?
Yeah, I think conducting a podcast interview that can eventually help someone generate a positive ROI is extremely difficult. It's not intuitive. It is not something that anybody can just, turn on a microphone and do just because they think they can or they think it's easy. At Business RadioX, we spend a lot of time, a lot of man hours doing this, trying different things, coming up with a methodology that works, that generates an ROI for our guests and for our clients and for our partners. So we have kind of figured out how to do it, and we train our people in this methodology. And I'd like to share some of those tips with you on how to do a productive interview. The number one thing is to be an active listener. You have to ask a question that allows the guest to follow up after the interview, and you have to have a patient long-term time frame to make a sale. If you do those three things, you will have a productive interview for both your client, the sponsor, and the guest. You have to know that most interviews aren't going to turn into a sale, and what the objective really should be is you're trying to help someone that create a pathway to a sale that'll happen over time. And if you do this right, the interviewee is going to be happy and the client will also be happy. But there is a way to do it, and it starts with being an active listener. You have to really let the guest be the star. Your job is to facilitate, and your job is to inject into the conversation an opening so that your client or the sponsor can elegantly follow back up with that guest. So if you're doing that right, the interviewee is going to be happy because they're going to have a great piece of content. Your sponsor or your partner is going to be happy because they're going to have an opportunity to follow up with a lead or a prospect. So everybody is going to win if you do this right. But there is an art to this. This is not something you can just wing by just showing up and just start peppering somebody with questions. What I see time and time again is the podcast host is spending too much time talking, not enough time listening. They are trying to be the star. They're trying to make it about them, and they're not focusing their attention on making the guest create a great piece of content that they're proud of and that they'll share. So that is what I know about doing podcast interviews that create a positive ROI for everybody.